Hiya crafty folks, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I have a funny punny card to share with you. I have this adorable stamp and die set from Lawn Fawn. It's of a little cereal bowl. I have some cardstock and my Ohuhu markers. These are alcohol markers. They have a brush tip and a fine tip nib. And here's a photo of the finished card to show you where we're headed today. So it was super fun to make. I'm just going to bust open this stamp set and stamp it quite a few times so I have some extras for my critter book. But I'm going to stamp it with an alcohol marker ink. Oh my gosh. I can't talk today, y'all. Seriously. I don't know what's wrong with me. An alcohol marker friendly ink. How about that? We did it. Yay. Anyway, it's the Simon Says stamp intense black ink. So this works with alcohol markers. If you aren't familiar, you need the right sort of black ink depending on what medium you're using. So if you're using an alcohol marker, you don't want to use a black ink that's comprised of alcohol. Otherwise, it'll kind of eat through it and then you'll smear it. So this is an alcohol marker friendly ink. I stamped it 4 times and I picked that smattering of colors just to do some very simple coloring. So I'm going to speed this up so I don't keep you here all day. But you can see I did switch to the fine tip nib just to kind of get in this little nooks and crannies. It's a really handy feature. I'm very happy about this option. You may know I do have some Copics, and on some of my Copics I've switched the nib that was a chisel nib to a fine tip nib. I've done that on some of them, but it is an additional expense, so it's really cool that these come that way, or you have the option of purchasing them that way. I will link these markers in the video description box below with the other products that I used. If you do use my link, it's no additional cost to you, but it does help me out and give me a small commission. So again, I'm very happy with these markers so far. I'm still getting to know them. I have had some issues with my Copics kind of drying out or the nibs getting crystallized without even using them, or maybe kind of like micro fractures in the caps on my Copics. So I'm very happy to have this alternative. And these are much less expensive as well. So if you're in the market and you're looking for an alcohol marker, I really do recommend these Ohuhu. There are quite a few colors. I have kind of a smaller set. I just have 120, but for right now it works great. They did actually send them to me to try out. So I did some previous videos, which if I remember, I'll try and link them below, giving my honest opinion of them. Now here you can see I'm using the blender marker. Now don't be confused by blender markers when they send them to you with alcohol markers. In your mind, you'd think blending, it helps you blend colors together. I want you to think of it more as an eraser because it's basically pure alcohol. It's going to kind of eat into the ink that you lay down. So if you go outside the lines, I find that going over it with a blender and kind of pushing it back up towards the stamp line, a lot of times it really does erase it. So don't think of a blender marker as a blender, think of it more as an eraser and you'll have much better luck. Now I decided that I wanted it to look a little bit more purple, but I didn't have a darker purple in this collection that I felt kind of worked. So I did go over the bowl with the blue just to kind of add that variation in color. And now I'm using all the other colors to just very simply kind of color in all the little marshmallow hearts in the cereal bowls. I did forget that I wanted to use the blue, so I remembered that on the last couple of them. But again, I'm not doing any blending or any special fancy coloring or anything because these little hearts are so teeny tiny. I'm just using the little fine nib, and it's really nice to get in there and just kind of fill in those little spaces. So super easy. Now here I grabbed my swatch sheet because I wanted to find the lightest blue I could, like the lightest icy blue. So I wanted to add just a little bit to the white milk. Just so it wasn't just a stark white, and I'm just kind of doing it along the edge of the bowl. Very simple. So again, not doing anything crazy with the coloring. Now I do have a white gel pen for some highlights, like a little glint of a highlight on the bowl and on the spoon, and then also maybe just to add some fun interest. So I can't stress strongly enough how important it is to have a white gel pen in your crafty stash if you're a card maker. So if you like to color, you can really take things to the next level with little highlights or little details. I use it sometimes with my stenciling. I use it all the time in my crafty stash. So be sure to have something like that. It's definitely something I recommend. Now I did use the coordinating die, though this is a very simple design. This would be easy to fussy cut out yourself if you didn't have the coordinating die. And there I have, I think it's Zellige Tile. I never know how to pronounce that. But that is a 3D embossing folder from Altenew. Just going to run that through off screen. And I have this gorgeous textured white background. Now I do decide I want to bring in a little bit of color, so I'm just going to grab some residual ink left over on my blending brushes. This is probably Catherine Pooler, and it just sits so well in these blending brushes from the Rabbit Hole Designs that I know I can come back to it at any point and just get a nice subtle pop of color for my design without having to pull out ink pads. So I use my purple brush and my pink brush to kind of tie in with the coloring that I did on the cereal bowl. And then I have a little strip of cardstock here, and I'm just going to freehand stamp this kind of cute punny. Oh, actually, no, I decided to put a little face on one of the bowls because it was just so cute. I couldn't resist it on one of them. So I have the little face on there, and then I will do some very simple stamping as well on those simple strips with the sentiments, because I want to take advantage of that adorable little pun that comes with the stamp set. So that's one of my favorite thing about these little sets. Not only are they very affordable, but the puns are always just so cute. I absolutely love it. So I have, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 of these little sets. And I used to make them into like little tiny lunchbox cards for my daughter's lunch when she was younger. So that's another really fun way to use these little sets if you collect these. Now here I wanted to bring in some color. I didn't want just the plain white sentiment strip on the white background. So this is a fun way to add a little pop of color. I'm just using 4 of the colors of markers and then just drawing a little edge kind of overlapping with the color next to it, just to add, you know, some color and to help it kind of pop off the design and also tie in some of the colors that I use. So that's a fun little option if you don't want to do just plain white on white. So here I'm going to stamp as well on the inside of the card. So on the front, it says no seriously. I don't know. You get the idea. It's a pun. It's funny. And then it says, I think you're awesome on the inside of the card. So I'm just freehand stamping that, holding my breath, trying not to mess it up. You could absolutely do that on a Misty. And I'm going to use these little thin foam strips to pop up both the sentiment and the little cereal bowl off of the embossed panel. And I did attach that embossed panel to a US A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2. I'm just using the strips. I could absolutely bust in my stash and get some of my thicker foam tape, but I had this here. I was being lazy. It worked. It's fine. It makes it the same height as the sentiment strip, which is what I wanted. So I'm just going to remove the backer, put that down on the front of the card here. Once I'm done fiddling with this, I think I kind of kicked the bowl a little bit to the side because it looked a little bit more whimsical and fun that way. Yeah, I just thought it looked cute, kind of tipped. So that's the front of the card. Now I get to pick from the delicious little crystal bags of joy. These are card bling from Colorful Life Designs. There's, I think, well over 130 different colors to choose from now in the shop. Complete crazy town, but they're so beautiful, and I love just flipping through these little containers. I get them from Amazon. I'll link them below to figure out which ones I want. Now, I know there's loads of purple to choose from, so I was very excited to kind of figure out which one looked best with this design. I'm trying to remember what one I ended up going with. I was between these two, but I ended up going with opaque iridescent light purple because I felt like that really matched. So I put that down in a smattering on the front of the card, and that's going to finish the design. So I'm sure my daughter will get this just because it's punny and cute and she will enjoy it. But I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing. And I appreciate you spending time with me. Have a great day. Bye.